Good day and welcome to the special Focus On broadcast. I'm your host, Deelwood Rademeyer. Today we put the spotlight on the Gauteng Midterm Budget Policy Statement 2021. Gauteng MEC for Finance Nkomo-Ralehoko tabled this adjusted budget at the Gauteng Legislature today. Joining me now online is the woman of the hour herself, MEC Finance. Good day, MEC, how are you doing?
Great to you, my brother. I'm good, thank you.
Thank you for joining me. MEC, I'm going to just jump into it and ask if you can give me a brief overview of some of the major changes you've made to the adjusted budget and why.
Today I was presenting indeed the budget for this financial year, and what we have done is to increase our budget, and we have increased it by 7 billion. So say from the funds that we have been having, but part of that money we wanted to go to economic development, economic growth and recovery efforts to create jobs and to fight for youth and fight COVID-19. So those were the specific things that were clear when we were preparing for this. And part of the money, which is 1.2 billion, will be going for the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative. And we've allocated again 1.1 billion for hiring of education assistants and 74.6 million for appointing health staff and assistant nurses. If you remember, as we have been talking about us assisting the Department of Health to deal with COVID-19 cases that have been coming up. Now there's new variant that is Omicron. Definitely we need to increase our personnel in hospitals so that we are ready and we plan for anything that can happen. And again, 43.7 million will be going to social development, where again, you remember we have a number of people that have graduated, who are graduated, my apology, on social development, but they are still sitting at home. So we want at least those social workers have opportunities to be employed. But again, we moved because you have realized that the levels of unemployment in our province are very high. So, and amongst the people that are unemployed, it's young people, which is youth. So we want to focus in ensuring that at least our province picks up that area of employing young people. And we want to work and create more opportunities if we want to deal with the levels of unemployment and poverty that is happening in our country. So as a result of that, we ensure that at least the Department of Economic Development, we have a response to their plan on economic issues that we create now the SEZ projects, which we call them special economic zones in the province. We're constructing projects that are going to increase even our investment. Last, we were sitting at 2.5 billion because now there are companies already that have started working with us in Tshwane, your Ford, and that SEZ has started already. We're busy with it. It's at the stages now that you will say soon I will be completing it. But what we want to emphasize, because we've seen that once we had the investment of 2.5 billion, we realized that there are those that are raising their hands now. We're moving to 4.3 billion as we speak. But again, we assisted the Department of Economic Development with an amount of 114 million that has been allocated for technical adjustment just to assist them on infrastructure projects. So that's Tshwane that I was talking about. But we're expanding our infrastructure projects now and assisting them in terms of manufacturing, because we want to boost manufacturing in the sector that you know that it has been down, and there are more jobs that they will be created by that sector, whether informal or formal jobs. And again, part of the things that we're doing in the province, which I think you have heard me when I was talking about, is an issue of small, medium enterprises, our SMMEs and township enterprise. We want to empower them, and we have that unit called Gauteng Propeller in the province. So we've allocated an amount of 10 million for now that we want to they must use as capital seed contribution towards the establishment of the Retail Support Fund that we've created as a province. And again, we moved now, we were saying we need to focus on infrastructure projects. We have seen what has been happening in Mfuleni recently, and now we're busy with projects there of rehabilitating our roads. So hence we feel that some of the money must go to infrastructure, some of our budget. And we have adjusted the budget because it was 11.1 billion, but now a total amount of 10.6 billion has been allocated to the Department of Human Settlement, the Department of Health, the Department of Education, Roads and Transport, and the remaining amount we're allocating it to economic development again, which is 506.7 million, that we believe that economic development, social development, agriculture, and rural development must get some of the money, specifically for infrastructure projects, if we want to build our economy. Hence that focus that we want to do as a province.
MEC, you're talking about, you mentioned there was 18,000 jobs lost due to the riots, and you've now outlined some of the measurements taken. Coupled with the new variant that's put us back on the red list, what is the provincial government going to do to assist with the recovery of the economy to help boost growth?
What as you are indicating, indeed, we want to recover our economy. Hence, we felt that there must be specific things that we're doing. And in every corridor, we call them corridors, we are going to build these projects, which we call SEZs, which is Special Economic Zones. We have Val SEZ that we've done. We have Tshwane SEZ. We're having OR Tambo SEZ that we've built already. And we have the SEZ in Ekandastria area that we're building there, which is we are going to have this high-tech SEZ. So about in the Western Corridor 2, which is your area in West Rand, we are going to have our own SEZ there, and we have amounts of money that we are allocating there. But specifically for this one on the riots that happened, we are going to support informal businesses in grant funding. And that amount of money, it's 50 million that we want at least. If you apply, you will be able to get from 10 million to 10,000, I'm sorry, to 50,000, not a million, but we've allocated 1 million for a formal business, and each one will be getting a specific grant that they are able to use and pick up their businesses. So there is some work and amount of money that we are using there because we want to revitalize our economy. And already as a province, those are initiatives that we have done.
MEC, you also you mentioned earlier for the response to COVID-19, you added more allocation to nurses and social workers. What is Gauteng's readiness for the Omicron variant? Because we've seen an increase in numbers, but hospitalization has not really increased in the same rate as with the third and second wave.
We do have plans for the variant, and an amount of 555 million that has been allocated towards the health department, that they must deal with the response for the Omicron variant. But again, we're assisting them to employ the additional staff, which we have just indicated that amount of money earlier on, that I've indicated that we will definitely take that amount of money to make sure that we do employ their personnel. And the amount of money that we have done, it's 74.6 million that will assist us for that part, besides the 555 million. So quite a lot of money that we're going to pump to the Department of Health. Yeah.
Thank you, MEC, and that's where we're going to have to leave it for now. That was Gauteng MEC for Finance, Nkomo-Ralehoko. Joining me now online is MEC for Economic Development, Rural Development and Agriculture, Mr. Parkstyle. Good day, sir.
Good day, and thank you very much for inviting me.
What I think I want to get from you is your overall impression of the midterm budget policy statement tabled today.
Well, firstly, I must commend my colleague MEC Nkomo-Ralehoko on delivering a midterm budget policy statement and seeking to balance between the different pressures that she confronts and indeed the entire provincial government confronts. If you read the statement itself and the budget allocations, priority is still being placed on addressing the challenges and impact of COVID-19 and ensuring that additional resources are allocated to the health department, anticipating the pressure on the education system and the anticipated 100,000 new entrants into the Gauteng education system while seeking to grow the economy. And thus resources were also allocated to our department and to sister departments in the economic sector so that we can also accelerate economic development and growth.
Now, you're sitting with the mammoth task here. I mean, our growth rate third quarter has dropped. We are still recovering from the riots from July. We're still sitting with the recovering from the COVID-19. And on top of that, we just got red listed recently from the Omicron. How will this midterm budget policy assist with economic growth for the province?
Well, we see the midterm budget policy statement as reinforcing our efforts in the war room that we have established on the economy and jobs in the province. And in the war room, we're driving a number of initiatives, amongst others, partnering with the private sector and private sector entities and associations to drive the implementation of our high growth priority sector program. These partnerships would include involving Business Process South Africa as part of an initiative to drive the expansion of global business services. It would involve our engagements with NAMSA with regards to the automotive sector, reaching out to the Transformation Fund in the automotive sector as part of the initiatives that we're driving. We're driving programs with the Agricultural Development Agency with regards to agriculture and agro-processing. We've been in a meeting with the U.S. Consulate and various departments of the U.S. Embassy and U.S. government for the whole of today, partly discussing our areas of collaboration and expansion of investment opportunities both ways towards the U.S. So in essence, the point is we've identified a set of programs. We've reached out to partners to enable us to implement those programs, and the budget allocation is enabling us to do that. Amongst others, they've allocated 116 million towards the Tshwane Automotive Special Economic Zone, where you know that one of our lead investors, Ford Motor Company, is investing massive amounts together with their tier one suppliers. They've allocated us also resources, about 86 million in the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller to establish a purchase order financing mechanism that would reach many SMMEs who struggle with purchase order financing or invoice financing. So it's a measure of mitigating the impact that small enterprises have faced with regards to their liquidity.
You've already touched on the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller and you've already touched on the SEZ. Is there any other key focus areas that you would allocate this new budget to?
Well, critical is the Township Economic Development Initiatives. The legislature is currently considering the bill. We anticipate that it would be passed very soon, but it enables a number of things. Amongst others would be the establishment of township enterprise zones and benefit stacking in these township enterprise zones, which benefit stacking would include direct support from government, enterprise and supplier development initiatives, supply chain management processes and direct procurement from these enterprises in township enterprise zones, including, of course, the establishment of a township enterprise fund that would enable us to provide the financing mechanisms that are required by small and medium-sized enterprises, particularly those that are established in the townships. I should say that we've also reached out to partners in the consumer goods sector to say how do we ensure participation by township-based enterprises in the value chain, particularly in the malls and retail facilities that exist in the townships, so that the malls themselves become an anchor of economic growth and development in the townships and that communities are able to buy into this. So these are also part of the partnerships that we're evolving in the department with the private sector.
Certainly something for us to keep an eye out on. Thank you, MEC, for your time. That was Gauteng MEC for Economic Development, Rural Development and Agriculture, Parkstown. Thank you to our audience for joining us for this special focus on broadcast. Until next time, goodbye.